start off with ashtanga sun salutations, because I actually think that those are really, really hard, and they're at the beginning of every ashtanga practice. And I think anybody that like comes into an ashtanga class is probably, you know, a lot of people are probably like, wow, that's too much. So here's a prep exercise. Two things to think about. One is always pulling, just to start out with. We're not going to talk bandhas and all kinds of complicated stuff. Just pull your belly button towards your spine, okay? So pulling in, like if I show from the side, in, right? In at the belly button. It drops my tailbone down a little bit when I do that, and it changes the position of the big bones in your legs, your femurs. It changes the position of them inside your hip socket when you're standing. So you can kind of see that. I'll exaggerate that a little bit. Dropped. Belly button in, and I'm straighter. Now, two other places where that's important. We're going to end up down on all fours, so your arms out directly from your shoulder joints, and your hips, your knees, you know, down like left in line with your hips. When you're here, if you don't keep that sucked in and you let it drop, see how it changes my hips, and you can feel the way it changes your femurs. But not only that, when I have this dip here, it changes the way my arms are in the shoulder joint as well. So that spot, so pull it in, suck your belly button towards your spine. It'll get your spine nice and straight as opposed to being dropped down. So there. And one other spot that I want to show about that lifting of the abdominals and like pulling your belly button towards your spine is if you're going to jump, there are some places where you jump in ashtanga, and I really think that that is super important, to jump as opposed to step, and it's something I just have figured out that I think is important. But if you're dropped down in your hips to try to initiate the movement, okay, so I gotta back up. First, most important thing with ashtanga is to coordinate all of your movements. So instead of moving your muscles, moving your body, your focus is on your breathing. That's like the first thing that you're focused on. So every movement that you make is just a result of you inhaling and expanding, or exhaling and contracting and drawing in. So even that jumping that I was saying, you know, that you do in ashtanga, that motion too, instead of me thinking of jumping from my feet, pushing down, I want to jump from my breathing. So when I inhale, I'm going to go up. And as I'm coming down, I'm contracting in. I'm not like falling down into the floor. Everything's contracting in as my feet are coming down. So that isn't possible. That jumping from the breath isn't possible if you are dropped, if your femurs are down in your hip joints. They've got to be lifted up. So here, I'm just kind of jumping with my feet, versus if I lift up, then I can jump, jump. So I'm saying jump as I'm exhaling, coming down. Okay, so those two things, belly button towards the spine, and then, so that really changes the way your legs are into your hip joint, and it allows, if belly button is towards the spine, it allows all of the motions to really be initiated from your breathing. Okay, so that's that, and then I'm going to show the exercises.